welcome to the Yogaman Live Show. Yeah, so I would like to welcome you to this edition, episode number 4, where we're going to be talking about social media content strategy. This is a topic that so many people keep asking about, asking what can I do, what social media content can I stick to make sure that I actually get growth on my platform. So this and more is what we're going to be discussing today. So I would like to welcome you all. If you're new to this platform, please take off some time and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the host. And also, if you have anything to suggest, if you have any comments to make about this conversation, please go ahead and drop a comment. And also, go ahead and send me an email if you have something you want to inquire about. Go ahead and send me an email. Just go to the About section of the channel, and you'll see our Gmail contact. Then send me an email on that channel. So most welcome to this wonderful episode, and I hope you guys will be able to learn a lot as we go along. What we're going to discuss today is what actually makes or fails so many people to make it in this social media era. And also, it is one of the most important aspects that brands have to choose from when selecting what kind of content to appear on their platform. So please, I encourage you to watch this video to the real end. And because what I have noticed is sometimes we skip the most important part that we want to be able to learn and also understand how these platforms operate. But because we don't watch these videos like this one to the real end, we miss out on the point. One thing I want to remind you as we get started in this video is that you must be able to invest in yourself. You must be able to invest in your learning. You must be able to invest in your materials and the resources you use as a brand, as an individual that is actually growing your online brand. So that one of the resources is make sure that you equip yourself with the right skills and the right tools to make sure that you succeed on this journey. So what I'm going to discuss is not out of this world, but these are things that you need to put in context and you need to really be mindful about if you're going to build a successful social media brand. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Many people know that when you share negative stories on social media, they immediately skyrocket. They immediately go up. The engagement is superb on the days when you share social media content that is negative. And negative in the sense that it actually pulls off in a negative way for maybe the people that it is talking about or the content that it is talking about. But in the broader sense, it attracts a lot of attention versus positive content. Now, positive content is content that is neutral. It's not attacking anyone. It may be educative. It may be teaching people how to do things. It is showing quite a number of people on how to do something or talking about any story, but in a positive way. In other words, it doesn't attack. It doesn't bring about the negativity that usually people express in some of their social media posts and some of their social media content. So how do you strike a balance if you want to tell a story, and how do you keep people engaged? Because I'll tell you, the people that use the negative approach, okay, some people call it the controversial marketing, other people call it attention-seeking marketing and stuff like that. But what is the advantage of using that style of marketing versus the style that is actually positive? Okay, so that is what we're going to be looking at. We're also going to look at how is the engagement of negative content, okay, sustainable versus the engagement of positive content. This is also Very, very key. So I'm going to start off like this, that no matter what story you share, there will be someone that will be watching out for it. However, the social media culture, the social media behavior in many parts of the world has had an incline where content that is negative, in a sense of trolling, in a sense of talking about things that are attacking, in talking about stories that are looking out for some individual, those stories have always had a very short lifespan of engagement, but the engagement usually spikes so high. Okay, and these channels, these brands that are in that category, many of them get a lot of engagement on those negative stories. However, the strategy of using controversial marketing and negative stories sometimes does not sustain the engagement, especially if people outlive your style of telling a story, especially also if people understand that your direction of telling the story can be actually told in another format. And this won't be too long after you have shared a series of some posts. It could be videos, it could be anything. So many people get the attention they seek on a few posts that they actually put out on their social media platforms, but that may not actually bring them the long-term success that they tend to actually bring to the brand. Why would people use negative stories to tell their brand story? Number one, negativity has a very, very attractive and attractive in a sense that it brings very quick attention to the platform. When you share a negative story, I'll give you an example. If a brand has put out something nice and another brand, maybe another online content creator brand, will go ahead and publish a story. There are two ways to do that. You can talk about the real story, the way it was published by the brand that has produced something, or you can even go ahead to compare it or even criticize it or even attack it. Now, I am not saying that content which is criticizing certain brands is bad, and I'm not saying it should be dropped. No, and I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, for people that use the negative strategy to tell their story about certain stories, about certain pieces of content, to be mindful to always remember and balance the conversation and balance the way they express the content or the story they are trying to tell to their audience. Now, why do people sometimes tend to have a lot of attention towards uh, towards stories that are negative? Simple. So many people tend to think that negative stories always bring a lot of controversy, and because of the controversy, there will be a lot of engagement and it will spark conversation. This is very true, and especially if this strategy is used properly, it can propel your brand to a certain level. But one thing I need to tell you and warn you about is that if you stick to the negative style of telling your story on your social media platforms, you have got to know that people will outlive it with time. And the reason is positive stories, stories that are told in a positive way, tend to have mild attention when they are just published or when they are told on social media platforms, but they tend to last longer in terms of attracting people towards them than the negative stories. Okay. And also, one thing you need to remember as a content creator, you want to keep yourself out of crisis. You want to keep yourself out of, negativity that will bring you to a situation where you're rubbing shoulders in a wrong way with maybe other brands or also the people that are in charge of the brand that you have talked about in your content. So it is very, very important to remember that these two strategies do work for everyone that uses them. But I want to tell you the advantages, the pros and cons of using each, so that you, as a content creator, you know where to go. There is a tendency of people that tell, entertainment gossip and entertainment news to always stick to the negative side, which apparently, if I look at some of the platforms that I have been watching for the last, say like last 5 years or last 4 years, those that had taken the strategy of telling their stories in a negative way, if you look at what their growth has turned out to be, it has stagnated. The growth has actually come to a point where it is very limited. And that's what I want you guys to know, that every time you share a negative story, the spike of attention immediately goes up, but it is not long lasting. And this is a reality that you must be able to check as you go on to share social media content on your platform, because many people have become victims thinking, hey, hi Sharon, how are you doing? Thanks for watching. Many people have gone ahead to think that, hey, when I tell my negative story, it is going to rub so many people, it is going to bring a lot of attention to my platform, and my platform is going boom to spike to the sky. That will happen, but I can tell you, my friend, it is not sustainable. It is very difficult to sustain. The reasons I have told you it is very difficult is people will outlive the style you're using to tell your story in the first place. Then, secondly, you are going to get a limited access to the real sources that can give you the story, because people know that when they give you the right story, you're going to tell it in a negative way. And so many brands, so many individuals do not trust platforms that publish stories in a negative way. So this is something you need to learn. Whether you're making YouTube videos or you're telling your stories on Instagram or you're telling your stuff on Twitter and Facebook, you need to understand that the negative story, the negative style of telling stories and putting up content can bring you a short span attention, a short span attention meter. And people will follow you for a very short time. Soon or later, they will learn that you are twisting the stories you're telling to tap into their attention. And because of that, they will run away. And what that will result into, your platforms are going to become stagnant. They're not going to grow. And as a result, you will find that you start moving from one platform to another, thinking because my Facebook is not growing. Let me move to Instagram. You take the same style of telling stories to Instagram. Your Instagram after 6 months will stagnate and not move. Then you move to Twitter. So you'll find yourself that you are doing a self-defeating strategy of telling your story. So, what do I advise people that tend to use controversy or tend to use stories that are negative in style to tell their brand story? This is what I think you need to pay attention to. One, make sure that even as you go controversial, balance your story so that your audience doesn't always read you the wrong way, because it becomes very important. And I'll tell you out of experience, I have been online for some good time, and I have been able to grow some platforms to real big numbers, platforms that are individual and some that belong to business brands. When your audience reads into what you share as something that is always seeking to tickle their attention span, they reach a time and get tired of it. They reach a time and outlive that style of telling a story. What they do is they will start ignoring your content. Your engagement will die. Your responses to the posts will go down, and your growth of your platform will become stagnant. It will stop growing. So Be very conscious if you decide that you are going to be telling your stories in a controversial style. Now, what are the advantages of telling positive content? First and foremost, I want to tell you guys that positive content is usually ignored by many because it doesn't bring that high spike of attention in a very short time. Take an example. A video like this one may not bring as many views as a video that is talking about something negative, as a video that is talking about something controversial. It may not attract that much attention, but the advantage that positive content has is it lives a long time and it can actually drive growth and success of a social media platform for a very, very long time. This is what every social media manager wants. This is what every brand wants. You don't want to cut the growth of your platform short because you want to get quick attention. Okay? Social media growth is not a short run. Social media growth is a long run that has a process of growth, that has a process where you encounter certain challenges, especially when you're telling your story. Positivity is going to change the way people perceive what you're telling. But also, positivity is going to attract you to a bigger audience because people will trust your style of telling a story. And this is the difference. When you tell your story in a negative, controversial way, many brands tend to shy away from platforms that tell their stories in a controversial style because they know there is a very thin line between a controversial story and backfiring to bring issues for the given brand that was involved. So many brands and many individuals tend to shy away from this other section where people that run platforms that tell negative or controversial stories, sometimes they lose the opportunity to be able to meet the people that would even give them bigger content and bigger stories. Whereas the people that use the positive style of telling stories are actually going to have a big access to people that have the content. And it becomes very important for you to understand as a storyteller, for you to understand as a content creator, that the number one goal you want to have for your platform to grow, you want to maintain your audience and keep it going up. You don't want your audience to go up and drop. That is very demotivating. And it usually happens to a lot of people. They tend to use a lot of controversy in their development of platforms and growth of channels, and the controversy backfires and the platforms become stagnant and they stop growing. This is the number one demotivator where you find someone has a channel that has almost 25,000 subscribers, has almost 100,000 followers, but the engagement has gone back to zero. Okay? So if you want to sustain the growth, if you want to have an audience that keeps growing in terms of engagement, keeps growing in terms of participation, then I would encourage you to learn this tactic of telling your story in a positive manner, in a manner that brings out value, in a manner that brings out the educative factor. You could be criticizing something, but in an educative way, criticize the stories that you're talking about. Okay? Don't mix up criticism with negativity. And what I'm talking about is people that have specialized in controversy and negativity styles of telling their stories. I am saying that style is going to limit your access to the sources of information. That is number one. Number two, it is going to give you a very short-term growth. You are going to spike, okay? Your growth is going to go up in a very short time. But I will tell you, within that short time, the graph is going to become stagnant. And then you, as a creator, you start asking your questions: what is wrong with my platform? Nobody wants to engage again. I have 1 million followers. I have 500,000 subscribers. Why is it that I'm getting 10 comments every time I share content? The reason is one, you've stuck to the style of telling a story which is not sustainable. Two, people have identified that your style of telling a story is always forcing them to pay attention to your content. You know, there is a natural incline of wanting to know something that you have shared on your platform, and then there is a difference when you find other people forcing people to read more or less like, you know, how you would look at a clickbait, or more or less like how you would compel someone to read a headline which is actually telling something that is not genuine, but you want people to read that headline. That is the same kind of style that your readers are going to discover, and before you know it, they are going to move to the alternative side. They are going to move to the positive side, because positivity always, always takes longer to bring about success, but the success lasts longer. So that's one of the things that I wanted to tell you guys. So if you're a content creator out there, the question of my platforms are not growing, or my platforms are stagnant, or my engagement has gone down. I don't understand why my YouTube gets one comment, yet I have 1 million subscribers. I don't understand why my Twitter gets only 2 likes, yet I have 100,000 people following my content. This could be the problem. And what should you do? Where do you find a solution? So I'm going to give you some of the solutions that you need to go back now and look at, and make sure that you re-strategize and get to the level where your platform spike again and start growing organically, but also as your engagement grows, the platform grows, and then you actually start bringing value to all the stories that you're telling on those platforms. So, what should you do as a content creator? Number one, tell a balanced story. Tell a balanced story. No matter which side of the story you support, remember, not everybody that is following your platform is actually in agreement with everything you say. Sometimes you're going to have a percentage of your followers that believe in what you say, but it is not a guaranteed fact that 100% they are going to believe what you say. So you have got to make a very, very wise and crucial decision as a content creator to make sure you don't go overboard in terms of being so negative when you're telling your stories, but also you don't go overboard in terms of being so neutral when you are supposed to be asking some questions. So it becomes very key for you as a content creator to understand that, hey, what I need to do now is to balance up my story. What I need to do now is to understand that my Facebook audience, 100% they believe in me, but not everybody accepts what every time I post. So you have got to cater for the people that are in belief of what you're saying, and those that may have questions to raise. I always allow a debate to occur when you post content. I'll give you that tip is very, very important. Always allow a debate to occur on your platform when you post content. That is where engagement starts from. And once the engagement becomes a conversation, once people start now to debate something relevant in regards to what you share on your platform, I can tell you the sky is going to be the limit of your success, because people now are going to love the conversations that you posted. Unlike the people that dwell on negativity and want to shed some kind of dark light on certain stories, most of the time these stories are going to bring a very short attention span. Where, if for example you published a video that is so much trolling someone, or trolling a certain brand, or trolling even a given section of people in society, that video may get the attention you really wanted it to get, but that attention span does not last long. And that is what you need to avoid. And this is why I'm saying that sticking to the negative style of telling the story has very negative consequences in a long term than in a short term. And also, it has very, 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 very dangerous consequences when it comes to the sources of stories. Like I have told you, people will get people will become shy to tell you the real stories they want to tell you because they don't trust your platform. Controversial stories have a lot to do with trust issues. Controversial stories have a lot to do with who do you trust and how should you trust them with your story. So many individuals that would have given you access to information are going to hide it back and are going to sit on it because they don't trust your platform. If you've been reading magazines and newspapers, you know what I'm talking about, and you know this is the reality that happens every single day to platforms that decide to be controversial and controversially tell their stories. So again, if you're already watching, I'm so happy. I can see quite a number of people are watching in, and I request you that you give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up as you're watching, and also if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Now, one of the reasons I started this channel is I want to be able, I am one of those people that believes that social media should no longer be a thing, but it should become a thing for everyone. And because of that, I'm doing a lot of these series where I'm sharing with my audience on how to make better use of their social media platforms, but also on how to make money out of these platforms. When I started social media, like I said, it was a passion. It was something that I love to do, to tell stories, to always look out for these things and post on my platforms. And then later on, I discovered that because the internet has become so instrumental and so pivotal to people's growth and businesses, social media has become a part-time job for me. And when I mention a part-time job, you know what I mean. A job is treated as a job. And this is what I think the future is. Looking at the situation and circumstances that we're going through as individuals and businesses lately, I can agree that the internet is going to be a central tool to so many businesses and so many individuals' growth in the very near future, if the future is not today. Okay, so this is why I keep sharing a lot of these videos. These videos may not spike a lot of attention in a very, very short run, but my plan is to be able to provide a platform that can help people understand how some of these things are done so that they can benefit and be able to earn something and also be able to grow their businesses. So this is the whole relevance, aspect that I took as my strategy. One, to make sure I share something about social media marketing. Two, to make sure that I keep talking about trending stories and picking lessons out of them for some of my audience to actually be able to see what lessons do we pick from these kind of stories that are trending. And number three, to provide a platform that will also help the young talent, those people that are really massively so talented, but do not have a platform that has the attention it takes for them to be able to be noticed. So this is the reason I started this channel. And if you're watching me now, this is why you need to be coming back to this channel and looking at some of the content that we have shared. Okay, sometimes you may love the stories, other times you may not find the stories very entertaining to you. But at the end of the day, we have got to strike a balance. And this is the reason also I'm sharing this aspect of doing social media content. I want you, my friends, to know that the strategy you decide to take, if when you create a social media platform, has a lot to do with how your growth turns out, and it has a lot to do with what happens to your success story in a long run versus the short run. And what you need to be very, very careful about is you don't want to start a platform and it reaches a point and it gets stagnant. That is a very disturbing point for a content creator to be at. First and foremost, you need to be improving yourself every single day in how you share your stories. Now, if you reach a point where you think your growth was going up and it becomes stagnant, that is going to be a very, very disturbing fact in terms of your story sharing. But also, something that you need to note is a platform that loses engagement and the engagement keeps going down as you have numbers that have been up. Also, that platform ceases to be very attractive to new people. So you must know that if you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube and all you get is 10 views or 100 views, then there is a problem and you need to go back to the drawing table and review your strategy of telling the story. If you're on Twitter and you have 100,000 subscribers, but you can hardly have 10 people that react to your content, you need to go back and ask yourself what kind of style you are using to tell your story. This is very important for those people that are creating to grow their platforms, that are creating to grow their businesses. And this is why it becomes very important to know which kind of strategy you're going to be taking. Remember, I told you that negativity can bring you the short attention span. It will bring you that. And this is, if there is anything you're going to take out of this video, I want you guys to pay attention to this conversation of short attention span. Okay? You have seen so many people open up YouTube channels and boom, in a week it goes to 1 million subscribers because this person has controversial content, has controversial stories. Okay? And after 1 year, this channel can no longer have stories that get even 100,000 views. Ask yourself a question, why? You have seen so many people that open up Twitter, open up Instagram, and it spikes, okay? And if these people have been telling negative stories, that effect of spiking, that effect of short-term growth is very common to platforms that are controversial. And usually these platforms either come off so strongly trolling or come off so strongly attacking other brands or attacking other individuals. And because by nature of humans, people love situations where people are at loggerheads. There is a lot of friction between people, a lot of friction between brands. So people are going to be attracted in the short run to this story that is negative. But then later on, this attraction is going to die out. And as it dies out, the platform becomes stagnant in terms of growth. Now, unlike the people that are sharing positive content, people learn that these people actually look at this direction of sharing stuff, and it becomes very key to them to learn how to engage with it. The people that share positive content have a very big advantage of starting a very constructive debate between the people that support and those that may not support the topic or those that may not support the content you have shared. And as a result, it is going to start the engagement that you need for growth. So my friends who are watching in, if you're going to be watching this video at a later stage, or you're going to be watching this video maybe a year from now, I want to tell you that it is very important to make a decision on how you share your story. It is also very important to notice that social media success is a long-term goal. Social media success is a long-term goal. It comes along with a lot of processes that you must understand, and it is always very, very smart if you learn as you grow than actually landing into growth because you have decided to become controversial and then later on stagnate in life and you don't have anything to do about your growth. Lastly, as I wind up this video, for those of you that are already watching it, I want you to understand that all platforms can actually give you access to the audience that you want. However, it is very important to know that how you craft your content has a lot to do with what kind of audience gets attracted to your platform. Okay, the audience that gets attracted to your platform is because of what content you have constructed. And I'll tell you this, if I produce a video today, this video may have an impact on how many people are going to engage with it, but the videos that I put out before this video is what is actually going to cause the biggest impact. So one thing I want you to know is every time you go on to be negative about every situation, it may give you the short-term attention span, like I have said, but it is not sustainable in the long run. And if you go back to brands that have come off like that, it could be a TV station, it could be a radio station, it could be a newspaper, it could be a magazine. Go back and re-examine. Many of those magazines reached a point and became stagnant in terms of growth and had to either rebrand or sell off their brand to other people that transformed the story and started telling positive stories. So this is what I want you to know as people that are on social media to learn, as people that are on social media to cause growth for your business. This is the strategy that you must be able to understand. You either decide to go positive or negative. But I would encourage many of you, if you're watching me now, that please and please go positive when you're telling your story. That is very, very, very important and instrumental. It is going to change the way people look at your platform. It is going to change the way people engage with your platform, and it is going to change the way people share your content. You may have a negative story that brings you a lot of views, but people are not comfortable sharing it on their social media platform, meaning you are losing out. Okay, you may have a very tough headline that is trolling. You may have this subject that is trolling a certain brand, but what that is going to do is people can't share your story. For example, I can pick a story that is trolling someone and share on my other social media platforms. Okay. Whereas if I watch a good video on YouTube, if I watch a good video by a Ugandan blogger on YouTube, I'm going to go pick that story and share it on my Twitter. And my Twitter has almost 70,000 plus followers. So these people are going to tap into this resource. Unlike the fact that if someone has produced a story that is trolling a certain section of people or that is trolling a certain brand, I'll simply go watch that story on their platform and never share it on my platform because I just cannot associate with the negative energy to be shared on my platform. Many times people will not understand actually why even people go ahead to share negative stories, despite the fact that they would find it attractive to watch on their gadgets. They will never go ahead to recommend that story to their groups and their connections, which means in the long run you're losing out on the ambassadors that you would have for your platform, and you're also losing out on the credibility that you would rather build with positive energy and positive stories, and you lose out on that credibility because of the negative controversial stories that you decided to specialize in. So I want to thank you so much, guys, for watching it. And still we have quite a number of people that are on the platform, and I'm very, very glad that many of you take off time to watch this series. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information in this video. One thing I can tell you for sure is social media has ceased to be just something. It has become a main thing. And I want you guys, if you're watching it, this is the time to re-strategize and know that these tools can actually bring you enormous success as an individual and enormous success as a brand that is running a business and as a brand that is starting up something in society. Never and never think that social media is meant for certain people and not for you. It is actually meant for you because the mere fact that you're watching me now, you would want to create a platform that helps you grow your business. Social media provides you a platform to reach out to massive numbers, to reach out to many people. And this is the reason it becomes very important to decide on what style of telling the story you're going to adapt, on what style you want to use to reach out to your audience. The moment you make a mistake and use a style that actually makes people get tired of your story on your platform, it is very, very, very bad for your brand because you are going to reach a point where you build numbers and it is going to stagnate. So that is very, very important. So thank you so much, guys, for watching in today. And I want to tell you that if there is any question that you have, please go ahead and hit me up on my Twitter at Yogaman01. My platform is verified. If you have a question and you're really starting out as a social media creator, as a social media business manager, as a social media pages, manager for a certain brand, I am open to helping you become a better individual. I am able to help you and realize that you need to have a strategy that will bring growth to your brand. So go ahead and check out the About button or the About option on my channel, and you'll get to see my email address where I can be able to answer all your emails and all your queries that you're going to post. And also, don't forget that it becomes very, very key to keep growing as your audience grows at the same time. So much love and respect to everybody that has watching. And hey, the thing I can say is stay safe and make sure you become better, not bitter. Thank you so much, guys. Much love and respect. Bye.